That was Circus in the Sea. Circus in the Sea. Happy Sunday. Hang on. Oh my God. I'm done eating. I'm eating some dum-dums. Welcome to Gabbing Games for Sunday, June 7th, 6th, what have you. No, it's 5th today. Apologize for being late, but when the computer crashes, and that's my fault, but I got to get a new external hard drive because the computer's just, it's stuffed to the gills, man. When the computer crashes, at this point with the stream, there's so many moving parts now. Everything from all the stories I'm covering that are digitally highlighted that I have to get back to the ads, to a couple of different browsers because not all the stuff works on one browser. It's a real pain in the ass. So I apologize for the delay, but I appreciate you spending your Sunday with me, your Sunday afternoon, your Sunday evening with me, early evening. Thank you for that. We don't usually do this show on Sundays, but it's been a weird week of me dealing with COVID, which I think today's the first day I have no symptoms, and also state of play, and the next week's going to be even crazier with all the different streams. I apologize. I was playing with my dog, and I got all of his fucking... This dog... Listen, he's a Labradane, and I didn't think... When we got him, we said, well, is this a dog that sheds a lot? And they says, no. Well, fuck them. Am I right, boys and ladies? He sheds like a motherfucker, and I got like probably a bushel full at my fucking nose at this point, but he's a good boy. He's a good boy. Yeah, we got a big week coming up. It's June. It's the second week of June. We got, and I'll be streaming all this. We got, of course, the Bethesda Xbox Showcase and the Future Games Show. And I want to say Devolver just announced as well, but I don't know if they're Sunday or the next week. And then, of course, we've got Keighley's Summer Game Show. We got the PC Game Show coming up as well. There's a bunch of stuff happening in the next couple of days. So if you want to watch with the wacky knuckleheads here at Gabbing Games, this is the channel to come to because we will be streaming and discussing all of it. Did you see the news today? Today's news? Come on, Jaffe. Come on, Jaffe. It's just exciting and weird at the same time. It's exciting and weird at the same time. So people are like, Jaffe, what are you doing? Listen, I was so high last night, you guys. We did a stream last night, and the idea was, hey, let's look at scary things online. And there were a couple of genuinely creepy things we read about and we saw. But I was insanely high, and so it makes things triply, quadruply, scary. But now I'm kind of coming down from it. Onion Knight says, when Dwayne Johnson will be there is a selling point for his showcase. You know gaming hasn't arrived yet. You know, I don't agree with that. I mean, I get your point. I think your point is very valid. But gaming... If you don't look at gaming now and say gaming has arrived, I don't think you ever will. Gaming is never going to be, at least in regards to in our lifetimes, it is never going to be the kind of glamour biz that a lot of these other front of the camera businesses are. If you were to say, even if you were to take the greatest video game designer that's ever lived, which is probably Shigeru Miyamoto, and say Miyamoto will be there, nobody cares, and that's fine. I mean, it's all monetized. The reason you care The Rock is going to be there is because that's the product they're selling. So, but gaming has arrived. I mean, it is undeniable. I mean, you start to recognize it when you start hearing politicians talking about the games they grew up playing and games they play now. When I was a kid and you'd talk about video games and you'd have Tipper Gore and all these fuckers come in front of Congress like, well, what are these cyber games exactly? And it's like now it's just it's baked into the cake of modern mainstream society. So I think gaming has arrived. Absolutely. I just think that if you're expecting more Hollywood, and in fact Onion Knight clarifies, he says gaming in the way Jeff Keighley's trying to present it. I mean, I like Keighley. Keighley's at least given us something over the summer in the lack of E3, which is fucking fine. because E3 is a dinosaur. But yeah, I mean, you know, it's not just Keighley, though. The DICE Awards do it as well. They all seem to be like, we want our Oscars. It's like, no, you don't. Nobody watches the Oscars anymore. Nobody cares about the Oscars anymore. Why are it's almost like you're I'm really bad at on-the-fly analogies, but it's almost like you're a dinosaur or it's almost like I can't even do it. What I'm trying to express to you, dear wonderful people listening, thank you for that, is it's like you're chasing after something that's almost extinct. And it's like, we want to be that. It's like, why? There are so many better templates to follow or to riff off of if you're trying to basically make an award show or a variety show or whatever it is. So, yeah, Jafari says, yeah, it's weird. It's like they're wanting to be like old money. Yeah, it's like there's no nobility in being the Oscars. Nobody cares about the Oscars who's, you know, if you're 60 and below and you care about the Oscars, you're going to have to be a hardcore movie guy. And that's even then. Gaming blew up like hip-hop did, says Gotta Be Legend, but all things happen for better or for worse. I don't know what that means. Do you mean it? I mean, look, man, let me tell you something. We'll get to the game news in a second, but I'm going to tell you something. I grew up, I saw Crush Groove in the fucking theater, and Crush Groove was the first movie that white people, I don't know about black people, but certainly suburban white people, of which I was one, ever got any exposure to hip-hop culture, and it was like, what the fuck is this? This is pretty fucking cool. I think Sheila E. was in it. That's why I saw it, because I had a crush on her. And then, what's the next one? Breakin' comes out, and then Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo comes out. So all I'm saying is, you know, I don't know how that blew up. Maybe I guess it blew up in the sense that it became so mainstream that it lost at least the mainstream some of its juice. But that's anything, man. That's anything. That's any art form. All you can eat with the fat boys. My favorite, says Mass Produce. Sometimes I'll walk around and say to people when something bad happens, I'll say, first the fat boys break up, now this. And 95% of people don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Okay. Beat Street. I remember Beat Street, you goddamn right. Before the hip-hop movies, there were the roller skating movies. I know, I'm old. It was like Skate Town, USA and shit. It was awesome. All right. I wonder, says Sheriff, if Jeff Keighley will make any income on IMAX tickets that sell for the Summer Game Fest. I wonder, I mean, it's his third year in a row, I think, of doing it in IMAX, so maybe they make money. I don't fucking know. Okay. Let's talk about some news today. This is Sunday news. You rarely get news on Sunday, but who doesn't stop working? Jaffe doesn't stop working. Those guys all over the internet. All right, Sunday, it's the Lord's Day. That's what you get when you have an atheist/agnostic doing your news. I work all the time. Listen to this. Goldeneye is more than likely coming to Xbox. You hear about this? Goldeneye HD port is probably going to get announced a week from today, and it may very well get released on that day. Wario64, who a lot of you guys know over on the internets, he shared this. If you're looking at your screen right now, these are the achievements that are actually running off of Xbox. So these are, now N64 didn't have achievements, of course. So it's things like you completed the dam on any difficulty. That's obviously going to be the easiest one. Fly away, you completed runway on any difficulty. So a lot of this is just completing the missions. Then I assume they get a little bit more interesting. So, but yeah, so this is a real deal. There had been something back in 2007 that was a remake. I don't think that is this. But the thing about this I think is a proper remake coming to Xbox, Game Pass, whatever, and we'll probably get some news in the next couple of days on it or within a week. The weird one about this, though, to me, is just simply that, you know, I played Time Splitters recently. I don't remember how I got that. It was on some service or something, and so I'm like, oh, Time Splitters, or maybe I bought it. I don't fucking know, but I played it. And Time Splitters was the follow-up from a lot of the GoldenEye team, and it's unplayable. It is fucking unplayable. And so the idea of remaking Goldeneye for any reason other than just, hey, isn't that kind of neat? I mean, I think anyone is going to play Goldeneye, and within 10 minutes, they're going to shut it off if they're not wearing nostalgia goggles, because it's wonderful for the time. And I've told the story, but not often, but I'll tell you one more brief time, because I loved this moment at E3. It was the E3 that had Goldeneye, which I think was also the E3 that had like Shadows of the Empire. I think that was the second year for the N64 at E3. And I go into the booth where they have Goldeneye, and I play it for about 5 minutes, and I hated it, and I put it down, and I walked away. And I kept hearing people talk about how great it was. The thing is, at the time, all of the shooters that we were playing were like Doom, right? They were bullet spongy enemies. They didn't have much AI. It was kind of base pathfinding, or they just saw you and ran towards you. And it was more about that coupled with the level design. Well, so I went into Goldeneye trying to play it like a shooter and just got my ass handed to me. And I'm like, fuck this. And it wasn't until I brought it home, or I played it, I don't remember when it clicked for me. It may have been when I brought it home, where I realized, oh shit, you can't just run in guns blazing. It was not the first stealth game, but it was the first game that I recall that didn't wear stealth on its sleeve and say, this is Thief. You have to play stealthy. It's just like, hey, this is a simulation. You've got guns, you've got grenades, you've got a bunch of gadgets, and you can also be careful and not be seen. And the AI will respond accordingly. And when your head grasped what that was, for the time, absolutely revolutionary. But if you played it like I did without knowing what you were getting into, and you tried to play it like a normal game, you would go, what the fuck am I playing? It was brilliant. But yeah, I absolutely do not think this game is going to hold up. I don't really know why they're doing this. I mean, why not? Sure, who knows? But I don't know, maybe it's fun. Yeah, I mean, they have to have done it. They have to have played it and said, you know what, this is worth continuing. Maybe they have online multiplayer N64 Goldeneye coming, and in that, maybe that still holds up. Who the fuck knows? Okay. I feel, says Kingsley, most people don't care about Goldeneye anymore. I'm with you. Like it's only held up my nostalgia. This is probably only coming out to shut people up, but again, who's been asking for this? Right. I mean, yeah, Gotta Be Legend says it is the 25th anniversary of Goldeneye, which is great. I mean, I'm not going to complain if it comes out. It'll be on Gamepass. I'll try it. But I don't understand. Yeah, I'm not all that. I'm not all that interested. No, I don't agree. Bavari says Resident Evil 4 will shock you today, Jaffe. It plays like ass. It does not. It does not. I had never played RE4, and I played it on the stream about 2 years ago or 18 months ago, whatever it was. And I loved it. It was, within an hour, one of my favorite games. And it does play weird, and I'm very curious. I mean, we'll talk about Resident Evil in a little bit, the remake and how it ties into Village. But it was interesting to me to play that game well after it had come out in 2005, because the aiming was like, what the fuck am I doing? But once I figured it out, it was pretty fucking great. Listen to this. No, it's not tank controls, Darth Nugget. RE4 is not tank controls. It's what's weird about it, and somebody in the chat can probably explain it better, because I played it, but I haven't played it in a while. But when you're aiming the gun, like, I think it rotates your body with it, and you have a little bit of room where the gun is independent of your rotation, but then it just puts them both together. I think that's how it does it, and it's very strange. It's very strange. Spasbo says it is tank controls. When you say tank controls, I think you're talking about Resident Evil 1 and 2 with fixed camera. I mean, this is over the shoulder, so when you rotate, I believe the camera rotates with the character. I don't think you rotate, what's his name, Ethan, and we're looking at his face. You rotate and the camera goes with it, right? Yeah, Kingsley says in RE4 you can't move while you're aiming. It makes you calculate your moves. It's not tank controls. Tank controls equals up always moves you forward. Okay, well, whatever it is, it's definitely unwieldy and it takes some getting used to, and it's not modern. But when you get your head around it, it's fucking fantastic. So what we'll see, but I don't think Goldeneye is going to have the same ability to move beyond the years and still be compelling. But I hope I'm wrong. That would be great. Spazbo, by the way, here's what's interesting. When we were playing Resident Evil 4, the original, it was the HD version on Steam, a lot of us, understandably, were talking about the remake, which we knew was coming, and it's like, are they going to keep this you can't move while you aim thing, or they're going to modernize it? And I think it's clear they're going to modernize it, but it was like so much of the tension in that game does come from the limited motion while you're aiming. But what's interesting is, and the only person I know who has played it is Spaz, but Spazbo played Resident Evil 4 in VR, where obviously that's out the window. I mean, not only can you move and aim, but there's a lot more things that you can do in RE4 VR that you can't do just because your ability to navigate and move your own hands and things. And my understanding, Spaz, he's in the chat right now, my understanding is it still works. It's still a great game even without that limitation put on you. So I'm excited for the new one. And I am excited. Yeah, C. Lou says GoldenEye was all about the LAN party. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited if they basically put that on that you can play online. I'd love to play some online not Resident Evil, GoldenEye. We'll see. All right. Here's some other news that came out today. We're going way back because, games cost a lot of money. So everybody's doing remake, baby. Or just something with the characters you already know and apparently love. Toys for Bob, it was announced, or it's a rumor actually, but here's the rumor. Despite reports last year that Toys for Bob, who you must know as the wonderful developers of the brilliant Crash Bandicoot 4, as well as the Skylander series, they're fucking crackerjack motherfuckers. I love their games. Last year, the news had come out that they had shifted gears to assist on Call of Duty Warzone. And it was like, oh my God, the corruption of Bobby Kotick is now complete. You're taking one of these brilliant developers who's very clearly good at one thing, and you're sticking him on to make some fucking tanks and shit that you can sell for $1.99 and make some fucking cash, you fucking fuck. Well, it turns out that despite that, a new claim is suggesting the developer Toys for Bob is working on a multiplayer Crash Bandicoot game. This is coming from Gaming Bible. Here's how it went down. There was a podcast called Xbox Chatter Days. I don't know why I worry about calling my show Gabbin' and Games. There's a show out there called Xbox Chatter Days. Guess which day they do it on. Rand Althor 19 was discussing potential games that could show up at the conference next week. He says, I think Toys for Bob will show up with a new Crash game. And then Jez Corden, he does a lot of breaking industry insider stuff. I don't know how he gets his data, but apparently he's a trustworthy fella. In turn, Jez Corden responded to this claim. This is all coming from VG247. He says, a new Crash? I wonder where he got that information. I wasn't supposed to leak that. I think we could see another Crash Bandicoot. It's just not going to be a new Crash game. It's going to be a multiplayer Crash. It's like a 4-player brawler almost, but it's Crash. I think that sounds fucking cool. Now, again, I loved Crash 4, It's About Time, or Time Split, whatever the fuck it was called. Great fucking game, one of the best games that year, but I have wanted a Power Stone for so long, and I don't know if these are the guys to give it to us. I know there's been some multiplayer Crash in the past that were like party games and stuff. I would love for this to be Crash Power Stone. I don't know if it is, but I have a lot of faith in the developer to make something good regardless. I love their take on Crash. I would even say, believe it or not, I know it's blasphemous, I enjoyed Crash 4 more than the Naughty Dog Crashes. Maybe it competes with Crash 3 was probably the best one for me, but it was good people, and I'm looking forward to this. Hopefully it's true. This kind of ties into a VGC report from last year that Toys for Bob were hiring for a non-Call of Duty related project. So things are looking like this might happen. And that would be a hootenanny if we got this announced this June, this Sunday. Goddamn. Sounds like Crash Bash, says Roy Grimshaw. Well, that's the thing. There was that Crash Bash game. which was it was like a party game, right? It was like Mario Party, but with Crash. It was more like that, and it wasn't really Power Stone. Eddie T says multiplayer Crash is not what I want. Give me traditional Crash. I understand, but my understanding is Crash 4 did not set the world on fire. As great as it was, they gave you traditional Crash. I mean, okay, it wasn't totally traditional in that it wasn't super funneled. It was, but it wasn't only super funneled. But that game, Crash 4, was amazing. A lot of people might say they want traditional Crash, and maybe, Eddie, you bought it. I know I did, and I loved it. But, you know, I don't think it was the big hit they were hoping for, that they needed. Listen to this. Listen to this. Abandoned. Come on, what is up with this? PC Gamer says Abandoned is probably abandoned. The Silent Hill-like horror game Abandoned is in disarray, they report. They're saying it could be in trouble. They're saying the guy who runs it the studio is an asshole. Hassan Karam is a dick. He's got mood swings, and what does he do? He has mood swings, and he's mean to people, and he lies to people and manipulates people. They apparently have changed the story numerous times. It's gone from being about a cult in the woods that's trying to kill you to a tech AI chasing you, and then it became a game about vampires, and now it's back to being about a cult in the woods. This thing's never fucking coming out. Here's the weird thing. This is what a studio rep for Blue Box, which are the guys making it, says. It's not canceled, he says. This is quote. It's in development. All of this is just out of context, resulted by angry fans who did not see the game. The article written by GameSpot is just based on what these angry users speculate. One of them is pretending to be a business partner. The prologue will be released whenever we are ready. We are not letting speculation force us to prove the game. Now, can I just say about this? Fuck him. There's two things that bother me at this point about this story. The first one is that don't be a studio rep and try to be all defensive now. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. Did you guys, lead gamers on and give them gaming blue balls for like 6 months, continuously playing into the hype, and then you fucking shat the bed? Don't fucking hit us up and act like you're just angry fans. It'll be whenever we're ready. We're not letting speculation. Really? Well, you must have some new leadership at your stupid fucking company that I'm sure will be dead any minute. If you think that position is the position you've been offering all. If that was your view, then why didn't you shut the fuck up for 6 months? I don't care about Abandoned. I don't really care about Silent Hill. My dog in the fight is not because I care. Oh, I want Silent Hill so bad. I'm just angry. I was never a Silent Hill guy. I'll play it if they make a new one, whatever. It's just more this kind of, attitude of like, it's like, look, bitch, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. You're going to use social media, you're going to do teases, you're going to try to be Kojima and mysterious, and then it blows up in your face. Don't fucking push back because fans have gotten led astray on your fucking dime. Those are weird metaphors, but you know what I'm saying. The other one that's kind of annoying is you've got Shu and Keeley who were adding fuel to the fire. And I'm like, okay, I mean, they have a right, they're not obligated to not be fun and trolly and make jokes and stuff, but that was really lame, too, that you would have Kojima, or Keeley, who's tied in with Kojima pretty good, and Shu, who obviously is doing all the indie PlayStation stuff, and they're both helping this fantasy be expressed. I mean, here's what I'll tell you. At this point, if Kojima comes out and this was all Kojima and this was all a fucking Andy Kaufman level of troll, on one hand, I'll tip my hat to him. On the other hand, I'll be like, dude, shut the fuck up and make a game that makes some fucking sense. And I like Death Stranding, but come on now. It's interesting to me that Resident Evil has been Capcom's risk-taking IP. All right, we're off that. That's my fault. That's not his fault. That's my fault. Listen to this. Yeah, I agree with that, Eddie T. Sony should remove the real-time experience from Abandoned from the store then. Yeah. It's like, look, what are you guys doing? Just get them out of there. Well, I don't know if it's a scam, Union Gamer, because they're not asking for money. You know, BB, I'm gonna make something clear to you now. You're on my last fucking nerve. Your comments over on YouTube, your comments here, I don't have time for them anymore. So I'm giving you a fucking warning. Settle the fuck down. I don't want to put up with it. Do you understand? Jaffe, can you explain to a silver joystick what I meant by every game is a cash grab? You know how every game is an attempt to make money. Oh, is silver joystick someone's name? Oh, I thought it was like a silver fox, like somebody who's dating. I don't fucking understand. Okay, everything is a cash grab. Of course, everything is trying to get your money. It doesn't mean that it's not also trying to be a good, wonderful product. Sure it is, but that's art and business. That's always been the battle, as it should be. It's how it works. Okay. Do I think the hack and slash genre is dying, says Jonay. Nowadays, it's all about RPG games and Souls-like. I don't think anything is ever dying in games, but certainly I think the more things stray from simulation an immersive experience and they go to the realms of just genre, the more niche they become. So I think we'll always have hack and slashes and beat 'em ups and Streets of Rage kind of games, but they have now become less and less meaningful. Listen to this, though. Listen to this. I don't care. In fact, I like that Sony brings their games to PlayStation, but it isn't. You know what? You sure as fuck will shut up or I'll fucking ban you, BB. You don't just speak the truth. You know what? I'm going to jump ahead. I'm not in a cranky mood. This guy really pisses me off. I don't know why. Because you know what it is? You know what it is, BB? Here's what it is. Because you're always so fucking demanding, right? Play this, Jaffe. Do this, Jaffe. Do this. And you know what? I don't put up with that with Gods of War tier members. You don't pay a fucking dime for your free entertainment, okay? And that's fine. You don't need to. I don't need you to. But when you come at me and you demand shit, and then here's something he wrote. This just happens to be on something I'll show you later when we're talking about it in the stream, but it was a screen grab I pulled off of a YouTube comment from a guy named Super Gion. And we'll talk to that in a second, okay? Well, here's what BB wrote under it, totally different, because I'm looking at doing some changes to the business model of the show. He says, Jaffe, we hate the members-only chat. Who's we, BB, you motherfucker? If you're truly asking that's an option, you charge and let people freely subscribe to you rather than locking the theme out from typing. And unlock all your videos to everyone. Give us everything. Suck my dick. Suck my dick. That's why I'm attacking you, because you're constantly critical. You're constantly demanding. You don't pay a goddamn thing. You're obnoxious. Settle the fuck down or get better at living your life and communicating how you live your life to people in the world, and maybe you'll be able to stick around. Listen to me. People don't like it when the Sony games come to the PC, but I don't mind it. A Reddit user by the name of Empress of Sony has uploaded a series of screenshots, this is from PC Gamer, showing in-game menus from RETURNAL and SACKBOY. We all knew kind of about RETURNAL. We knew that was coming. If you want to see it, look at your screen. These are apparently the actual grabs from SACKBOY on PC, which is a great game. A great fucking game. And so I'm glad it might get another lease on life. It doesn't really strike me as a PC game, but, you know, it's wonderful. And then obviously RETURNAL, which I think is going to be right at home on the PC. So, but there's a lot of PC graphics options, control schemes, all the shit that you're used to. So, it is coming. My friend gets to play Spider-Man because it comes to PC. I'm happy for him, says Encrypt. Right? Eddie T, I agree. RETURNAL seems like a great PC game. Also with multiplayer for both of these games, and hopefully there'll be crossplay. It's going to open up a lot more opportunities for people to experience these wonderful fucking games. Sebastian Cooper says, Jaffe's like me. We grew up in the 80s back when you didn't have to watch what you say and people didn't take everything so seriously. I mean, some people did, but I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. People like that piss... Oh, you can't see that, can you? People like that piss me the fuck off. You know? They just annoy me. I don't know why. There you go. Let's put that there. Okay. How can people be mad when they come to PC years after console? Zaf, I don't know. They're fucking... At this point, I have no patience for them anymore. I don't have any patience for them anymore. I don't care anymore. I just find them obnoxious. I find them obnoxious as fuck. Listen to this. Speaking of obnoxious, this isn't obnoxious as fuck. This is disappointing as fuck. This dropped yesterday. It's still happening today, but it's not. It's over today. You could have played Mario Strikers. What is it called? The something league, Battle League. You could have played it yesterday, and you could have played it a little bit today because they were doing an hour at a time demos for the multiplayer. I played it yesterday with a couple of members from the stream. I streamed it. You can watch that on the show, in the comments or in the video somewhere. It's really weird because I love so much about this game. The mechanics are very cool. The control is very cool. It's got a great personality. It's got a great sense of style. There's really cool customization, visuals and stuff. I dig it. The power-ups, it's arcadey. But my God, right now, it is so confusing. It is so confusing when you're on the field telling who is who. It's not 1v1, it's 2v2, which I think is a mistake, at least for the main reason. The main, you know, what's it called? The main, you know, God damn it, Jaffe, the main mode. Now, there may be 1v1 modes, but when you're doing a 2v2 mode in this game, you get into a situation where you can't tell who is who. You can't tell who you're supposed to be controlling at any given moment. I was playing with Spaz, and it didn't just have A and B or, you know, my name and his name above our heads or our icon. It literally had numbers that didn't make any sense. So I'm running around, and it had a 3 above my head and a 5 above his head. And then sometimes the 5 was pink, so it wasn't easy to see. It didn't draw your eye. The numbers were pink. And then sometimes the number would go really translucent, and other times it would be opaque, I think, when someone's controlling it. And there's 4 characters. It made no fucking sense. It made no fucking sense. And this does not strike me as Nintendo. Nintendo used to be the fucking champs of user interface and simplicity of play. And this is a great developer. It's a developer, I forget what they're called, but they're the ones who did the Yoshi, the Luigi games, the Haunted Mansions, which are wonderful. But this, I hope there's a patch for this, man. I hope there's a fucking patch. I sure as fuck do. Because other than that, I had a blast. It was great, but I couldn't enjoy it. I am looking forward to the Quarry as well, which, yes, releases on the same day, shotgun facelift. Jaffe, you could play Kratos. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think, unless I'm doing the Chris Hemsworth version of Thor after he killed, you know, Thanos. Anyway, there you go. So, you know, your mileage may vary. I am interested to see if maybe people get the hang of it, and if they do, then I really want to play this game because it's a lot of fun. Preston says, look at the lobby system for Mario Kart. Like, if they're going to update that game, please, Lord, fix the back end. Oh, I know. We went and played, after this, me and Spaz, and I forget who the other player was, they're both better than me, played Mario Kart. And it was still like, I don't know how to get into a multiplayer game Mario Kart. Spaz had to do it. Okay. Jaffe, I heard the pre-orders for Callisto Project are exclusive to Sony at the moment. Jesus, Xbox, what are you doing? Do you think that could lead to an Xbox Game Pass announcement on June 12th show for the game? Well, if the pre-orders are exclusive to Sony, then doesn't that suggest they have some kind of relationship with Sony? Why would the June 12th show, what would their announcement have to do with that? I'm an idiot. I see your point. And it's a good one. When is that game coming out? Is it this Christmas or this year or next year? I know there's a date, but I've forgotten it. But yeah, I believe what you're suggesting is that if they're exclusive to Sony, that's because Microsoft knows they're going to bring it to Game Pass. Which means otherwise you're going to get into a weird thing where if you go into GameStop and pre-order it for your Xbox Series X and then 4 days later they announce it coming to Game Pass, how are they going to get you your money back? I mean, you can cancel it, but that's a very good observation, and I did not know they were exclusive to Sony, but in that, yeah, that makes a lot of fucking sense. I hope you're right, because A, I want to play the game, and I'd rather not pay for it, and B, Microsoft needs something. They need more than that, but they need something coming up. Okay, let's keep moving. Let's keep rolling down the road. Man, I did shave my head. You know what happened? So I usually do a buzz cut number 3. If you're listening to the podcast, thank you, by the way. I usually have the blade at number 3. And today I was just like, I wonder what happens if I just take that little thing off. And so I did, and I'm like, oh, this is almost bald. It feels so good, you guys. It feels so... Jeff says Jaffe looks like a dollar store Max Payne. That's the thing. If you're just listening to the show, yeah, just, you know, oh, I shaved it myself. Are you kidding? It feels so good. It feels so good. And this, you just play with it all day now. Look at that. You put a Coke can on your head. Let's move on, fuckers. All right. Now, we played... Oh, look at BIBI trying to get back in my good graces. You look lovely with the shaved head, Heart. BIBI, you got a mountain to climb, bitch. You got a mountain to climb. But keep at it. Maybe you'll get back to the top. Listen, we played Super Bomberman R on the stream a handful of times, and it's a delight. It's a great game. It's a lot of fun. And it's shutting down in December, less than 2 years after launch. I mean, you know, Konami says, hey, don't worry about it. We're going to terminate the service on December 1, but you can play Calisto Protocol the next day. We're terminating the service December 1. They said it has received many users, this is from GameSpot, since it debuted in 2021. However, the publisher is closing the game due to various circumstances, which I'm assuming is lack of players. The publisher said players should spend all their unused bomber coins before the servers go dark. Whether or not there's any refund system is unclear. We hope that you enjoy the game until the end of the service, they say. Now, I bring it up for a few reasons. First off, Jesus fucking Christ, man. When a game... this is a good game. It's really fucking fun. And they can't... We're in the bloody fucking waters of such competition in this industry I don't think I've ever seen when you're dealing with multiplayer. When a game that's just goddamn good can't stay alive for 2 years, you know something's wrong. Maybe nothing's wrong. Maybe it's just that's too much to play. I continuously go back and say, Sony especially, but I guess any of these companies, I would love for them to have a homecoming month or a homecoming week. I get they can't keep these servers up all the time, especially if they're not making money and they're costing money. But couldn't they just have a weekend or a week and call it homecoming every year where they turn back on the servers of the games that are dead? And it's like, okay, we're putting Bomberman back for a week, right? That would be awesome. We're putting Drawn to Death back for a week. We're putting Kill Strain, whatever. I'm not saying it's got its fans. It's not like Morbius going back into theaters like, oh, it'll do well now. It'll never do any better than it ever did. But it's a nice gesture. I don't think it would cost much. It's a cool idea. And it would you know, bring fans together of those titles. Kingsy says these companies are too cheap. Well, maybe they should factor it into PS Plus. It's like if you want to get into Homecoming Month or Homecoming Week, you have to be a top-tier member of PS Plus. Whatever. Anyway. Games as a service is not an easy thing to pull off, says Preston. You goddamn right. The paradigms of predatory monetization working in the mobile realm just don't work at the AAA level as easily as they'd like to imagine. They do work up and down across the board, but they're different based on, yes, console or not, and also based on territory or not, which we'll talk about in a little bit when we get to Diablo. But here's a quote from Lion Jim Ryan. He's not a liar. I just think that's a great thing. What else could we call him since he's not a liar? He's trying Jim Ryan. That's just like he's trying, obviously, Jaffe. Buying Jim Ryan. There's a good one if he acquires a new company. Doesn't matter. Brian King says he is a liar. Why is he a liar, Brian King? I mean, he's said things, okay, but not anything major, I don't think. I think Brian's one of the guys upset about PC games, PS games coming to PC, but not. I don't understand it. Hello, Icy Hot Sam. It's good to see you again, champion. Now listen. Regardless, this is a quote from Jimmy Ryan that I don't think enough people really paid attention to. Because on one hand, yeah, these games, a lot of these games as service games, I mean, remember Ash's Age of Origin, that great fucking dragon meets Twisted Metal game? No one talks about that. Knockout City just went free to play. I think that's going to be dead in a dodo. It's kind of crazy to compete. Well, this is what Jim Ryan said. He says, if Sony is successful in making a portion of the 12 live service games expected to be active by March 2026, if they're successful in making a portion of them enjoy critical and commercial success, the impact will be, here's the quote, the impact will be completely transformational to the company's business structure. Which again means that all it takes is one to hit, and you're fucking set, man. What I wonder when he says completely transformational, you know, you guys who love Sony doing business as usual, yeah, like Darth Nugget says, I kind of hope they all fail then. I was going to say, you better hope, if you're one of those, I don't want Sony to change, making what they make, you better hope these fucking fail, because all it's going to take is their version of, not in terms of the game, but in terms of the level of success, or even a third of the success of their version of Fortnite, or their version of Among Us, or their version of Minecraft, and you will see them run for the exits when it comes to these 300 million, 280 million, whatever, single-player narrative games. You better hope they fail, because he's saying it right here. Now, what he could mean is it just means we're going to make a lot more money that we can invest in lots of places. I'm sure that's the intention. I don't think they're thinking, hey, if we get successful with Jade Raymond's team that's making a free-to-play games service game, we're going to abandon what makes us great already. But I think it's going to be hard to look at that money and look at those bonus checks the other teams are getting and go, yeah, let's work on a $200 million game that people play over a week and never play it again. Sure, let's do it. We'll see what happens. They're not changing, they're expanding. Yes, mass produce right now, and I fully expect that is what they think they're going to do. I'm just saying, when the money starts rolling in, if they succeed at 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 of these things, and your buddy's over there on the games as a service team, and he's driving a fucking Ferrari, and you got some great critical success, and you got a standing ovation at DICE, but you're basically pulling in, you know, $180,000 in bonuses, and then the rest ends up going to the pay for the game because it was $280 million. don't know. I don't know. I'm not, but maybe not. Maybe not. We'll see. Listen to this. Listen to this. You want a Ferrari, Brett Moore? I don't want a Ferrari. I'd want a Ferrari if I could sell it, but I don't want to drive a Ferrari. A, I can't drive stick, and B, I don't drive fast, so it's no need. You see this? This is interesting. I'm excited for this game. People ask me a lot. They say, Sheriff is asking when the new membership release for PlayStation. I think that's this week, right? Jaffe, what's your opinion on King Thrash? Do you love him or hate him? I certainly don't hate him. I think he seems like I don't agree with the character he plays, and trust me, fellas, it's a character. There's no way one individual is actually that into a console at the exclusion of the things he says he's not into, but I think he's genuinely a decent guy. Okay. Okay. All right, listen. People ask me a lot. They say, what game are you looking forward to the most? And there's a lot of games I'm excited about, but out of the top 4, I would say one of them is this one, is Marvel Midnight Suns, which is basically Marvel Superheroes meets XCOM by Firaxis Studios. I'm in. I love turn-based strategy games. I love Marvel. I've never imagined that put together, and I'm super in. Well, it was delayed. It was supposed to come out already. I think. It was supposed to come out in 2021. An official release date hasn't been announced. This is PC Gamer again, but it may have slipped. There was leaked box art, and there was leaked pre-order details, and 2K said, fuck that shit, we're pulling this shit off the internet. It's not as easy to find anymore, but I do want to tell you what was on there. The first thing is it looks like October 6th, which is, I love fall releases when it's cold outside, and you don't want to go out. I don't want to go outside ever, but you don't want to go outside, and it's cold, and you got your fucking hot chocolate, and you can lose yourself into a great game. I'm excited. October 6th release date. There's 3 editions available. Who gives a shit about that? But listen to this. They've leaked some of the characters. So we already knew Doctor Strange, Magic. Some of these characters are big, and some of these characters you're like, that's interesting. Like, you have to think the developers sat down and Marvel said, or 2K said, you've got to put some of the big hitters in for commercial reasons. But then you get 5 that you can just pick whoever you want. Because when you're making a turn-based strategy game, you need people that can move around the board and do certain things that make them unique, right? Well, Doctor Strange is cool. Magic is, she was in the New Mutants movie. Maybe people know her from that. But she basically is sort of an X-Men, New Mutant kind of demon character. I think she's got, it's been a while since I've read her, but she's got cool moves. She's sort of like Nightcrawler teleporting, and she can have a demon form. Iron Man's in it. Wolverine's in it. Ghost Rider. Blade. I like Blade, but that's weird. Captain America's in it, which is great. Nico Minoru. No idea who it is. And Captain Marvel. Then there's 2 new leaks. Scarlet Witch and Spider-Man is going to be in it, of course. And there's 1 character that's still unaccounted for. They also, the Legendary Edition, one of the things it's good for is it leaked the bad guys. I will be buying the $100 edition of this game, just like I bought 2K's $100 edition of WWE 2K, because I'm sure I'll get it earlier, but I also want the DLC, and I also want all the skins, because I love this franchise. So interestingly, the Legendary Edition, says PC Gamer, features an alternate cover art that replaces the good guys with bad guys. Lilith, Mother of Demons, and Venom, the Hulk, and Sabretooth was known, Sabretooth and Lilith were known, but Venom and the Hulk are new. And there's also a demonic version maybe of Scarlet Witch. So I'm excited. I'm very excited for this game to come out. And we'll see how it is. But it's a great developer, a great IP, a great property. Legends, thank you for the super chat. He says, Jaffe, what do you think about a MOBA Twisted Metal? I guess my question, man, would be, what would the perspective be? If it was a, isometric MOBA, sure, why not? If it was an actual proper Twisted Metal, I think the problem you have, and look, we we suffered through this even in nuke mode of 2012's Twisted Metal. There are only so many games that can sustain a level of that level of nuance and difficulty and sort of learning curve to you know, bring people in. And so I think, you know, if you do it like, I mean, nuke mode for Twisted Metal was fairly deep, and inevitably what happened was everyone just started playing team deathmatch. Even though people love nuke mode, they played team deathmatch. So could it work? Yeah, probably. But I don't know if it would sell. Wolly Gamer, hello champion. He says, hey, Calisto Protocol, Jaffe, what are your thoughts? I am excited. I love Dead Space 2. It's the same team that gave us that. It looks very much like more of the same, although next gen. So I'm excited. And then somebody in the chat earlier brought up a very good point, which, and I didn't know this, he was saying that you can only pre-order it on PlayStation, which to me and him suggests that this is going to be a Gamepass title, which I think is exciting. But I'm very excited regardless. If I have to pay for it or get on Gamepass where it's free, I'm excited. It looks cool. I mean, it looks like Dead Space, which is, what more do you need? Hang on, I wanted to find I don't care. Look at this. Khalifa Nasser says, cut hair in you face. I think he means the beard. You look older. Why is that bad? Why is it bad to look older? I don't understand. Josh Douglas says, Jaffe, are you excited for Gotham Knights? I'm excited for it in concept. I didn't hate the trailer that they put out of like 13 minutes of gameplay a couple of weeks ago. I thought it actually looked pretty good. But you know, the proof will be in the pudding. It looks like a traditional. It's got a lot of weird things. Like there's no crossplay. It's a 4-player character game, but you can only play it with another person. So it's only actually 2 players, but there's 4 characters. That's weird. I love Court of Owls. I love comic books. I love Batgirl. So I'm interested, but not. You know, if I wasn't a fan of the material and I was just looking at it as a game, I would say, no, it's going to have to get amazing reviews. NBMTX says, pretty sure being part of State of Play probably bans Callisto from being on Game Pass, or at least involves a first notice. I don't agree with you. I mean, I don't know if that's accurate. I'm just saying that why would they not then let you pre-order it on? That doesn't make any sense, because I have to assume okay, well wait, Eternal says Best Buy does have a Series X version of Callisto Protocol pre-order. God damn it. Well, why is this guy telling me they didn't? I gotta try. If you call in, I gotta be able to trust you guys. Hang on. Pre-order Callisto Protocol Series X. I will be so annoyed. If you were looking to pre-order it on Xbox, you're sadly out of luck. In addition to pre-order exclusivity, the PlayStation consoles also will receive an exclusive pre-order bonus. Well, that's the news. The news says you can't pre-order it. The Callisto Protocol now available for pre-order. Well, the game is available for pre-orders in Day 1 standard and digital editions. But you guys are saying Best Buy has it. I'm checking. Callisto. All I know is I don't fucking know them. I understand there may be a market, guys. I know. You don't know, and I don't know. Have there been contracts that say if we're part of this show or We give you marketing, you give us exclusives. Yes, absolutely. Sure. But that's not always the way it is. There's a lot of different variants on these contracts. Yeah, I don't fucking know. Some people are saying you can pre-order it. The news is saying you can't. We'll find out in a week, less than a week. Let's put it this way. All of this goes away in less than a week. Because at that point, we will know whether or not that is day one Game Pass or not. If they do not show up at their show next week with 2 to 4 big ticket day one Game Pass before Christmas, you know, they're not dead because Sony is still fighting with one hand tied behind their back because they can't make enough hardware. But my God, what does that say about this company? The fuck does that say about this company that they can't open up a checkbook when they've lost 2 of their big Christmas titles, or certainly one of them in Starfield, and they can't write a check and say, come on, here's a shit ton of money that we can do that. I don't see it. They've got, there's no way, but it's possible. But there's no way, but it's possible. Come on now. Okay. Mr. K says he's telling somebody called Tony Grasso it's over for Xbox. Phil Spencer's on the way out. I don't think Phil... What do you mean it says nothing, Jaffe? Come on now, Bavari. It says everything. If Microsoft cannot come to the table a week from today and say, this is our Christmas, are you shitting me? Let's move on. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 reboot, by the way. June 8th, that's another thing happening next week we'll be watching. They're going to be revealing it. I don't think it's part of a state of play or a summer of game or any of that shit. I think it's just, that's when they're going to reveal it on their own, just some kind of video or something. So that'll be June 8th, just heads up, they announced that. And then they also leaked the date, which is, or they didn't leak it, but they released the date, which is October 28th. So I'm excited. Modern Warfare 2 day one on Game Pass, says Sebastian. Yeah, I mean, they need something like that. Yeah, Tones, I'm with you. They may have Forza Motorsport, which 90% of gamers don't care about. I agree. If all they got's a fucking sim racing game, they're so fucked. Can I give you some birthday love? Yours is on the 8th. This is also Chev Shilios. I called and have talked with you on Twitter. Oh, I see. Well, your birthday's not here yet. So call in on the 8th and I'll give you lots of birthday love. But today, my friend, it's the 5th, so you get nothing. But soon, absolutely, buddy. Absolutely. Okay. Street Fighter 6, there's another one. Street Fighter 6, they announced... this is a little weird to me because I recall Street Fighter 5 being exclusive to PlayStation and PC. I don't think it ever came out on Xbox or Switch. But Street Fighter 6 will launch on PS4 and PS5 as well as Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and PC, Capcom has confirmed. Sometime in 2023. Street Fighter 6 will redefine the genre, says Capcom, and welcome players from all gaming backgrounds. I'm very curious what that means. I'm curious what they're going to do. I'm assuming what he means in this statement, or what the publisher means in this statement, is we're going to try to make Street Fighter not just hardcore, but we really want to open up the valves a bit. I think they look at the numbers of Mortal Kombat, which is a much easier game to play, and they kind of go... We want some of that, right? I mean, again, there's that danger, of course. It comes at the expense of the nuance of Street Fighter. But, you know, I am probably going to end up hiring someone to teach me how to play Street Fighter Street Fighter 5 on the stream. I'm never going to be a pro, but I should be better at it than I am. And I like Street Fighter 5. It looks beautiful. I love the character designs. I love the speed. But I just can't play it. I just can't fucking play it. Preston Smith says, I'm sure I speak for a decent chunk of the market when I say I buy Mortal Kombat games for the single player. That's interesting. That's fucking interesting. Street Fighter 6 has a new control scheme that is supposed to be more inviting to new players, says Tones. Okay. Interesting. Jeff I guess that's me, says Edvardo. Sony has developed the game, but with 6 Capcom. Didn't ask for Sony's help. I see. Jaffe, when are you joining FaZe? What is FaZe, Amon? Fuck you, Bacon Magma. He says, Jaffe, let somebody teach you how to play Mortal Kombat 11. You know what, motherfucker? I will fucking kill you at that game. Maybe. Shut up. Fuck you. Listen to this. State of Play. I thought you might be curious what gamers thought about State of Play. I don't know who Maximilian Dude is, the pair. Yeah, Mortal Kombat 11 single player is great. I love Mortal Kombat. I've never vibed with Street Fighter, but I like the world of Street Fighter. And as a designer, I'd like to kind of learn, you know? Street Fighter 6 has the normal control scheme, says Raziel Prime, and the simplified one where you can do one-button special moves and combos. So that's the only way they're simplifying it, is they're getting rid of the, you know, the half circles and all that shit. That's a little weird. To me, that's not what makes those games hard. It's all of the counters and double counters and weird hitboxes and, you know, required to read an animation to such a level of, you know, resolution that it's going to happen before it happens. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's never been the controls. It's never been the controls, man. It's always just been more of the, I can't connect with enemies because I don't understand how to play it. All right. NeoGaf did a poll, and they says, hey, you know, State of Play happened. What do you think? Was it good? Was it a good show? Do you like it? 4% said it was an F. I mean, they're idiots. 8% said it was a D. They're idiots. The ones that matter are the ABC, because clearly this was not a dud of a show. It was a pretty good fucking show. Are you guys, am I coming in clear? Or are you guys telling me that the buffering's bad? Is it working? Okay. Should I keep going? Meantime, I'm fine for now. All right. Well, if you're watching, scroll back to this part. If you're watching live, it'll be fine. Or hit refresh. So ABC is what matters. Yeah, the haters were giving it an F, Eternal. I agree. 18% gave it a C. 37.9% gave it a B, 30.7% gave it an A. Majority gave it a B. I would agree with that. That was the best State of Play they've had. The bar was low tones. I agree. But it was great. It was absolutely great. Here's what IGN, they did their own poll. They said, hey, what was your favorite State of Play announcement? Coming in at number 4 was Street Fighter 6 at 12%. Coming in at number 3 was Anything Else at 14.6. So that could have been Resident Evil Village VR. It could have been that roller drome or whatever it was called. You know, it could have been anything. Number 2 at 25% was Final Fantasy 16. And then the number one, think about this, the number one game at almost 50%, 48%. Can you guys guess? I'll give you 10 seconds to guess because there's a 7-second delay. I'm going to hold my breath for 10 seconds. If you're listening, I'm holding my breath. That's what's happening right now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, it was not Stray. It was not Dark Souls. Yep, it was Resident Evil 4 Remake, which I'm excited for, but I'm like, damn. Everybody says they don't want remakes. We don't want that. Yeah, you do. Because look, you totally want, yeah, the hipster coffee game, the one with the lady who rides the bike. Yeah, BB says Martha's dead. That's right. That's right. Okay, listen to this. So remember I read that quote from BB earlier? I just want to tell you something. I wasn't picking on him. I mean, I was, But his quote just happened to be on my screen because this is what I wanted to capture. This guy, Super Gion, wrote me this on one of the videos. He says, Jaffe is someone who was in game development in the 90s. Do you recall any conversations around whether brick and mortar game rental, good, bad, non-issue for game sales? To me, the benefits of Gamepass, I don't remember the rest he said. But the gist of it, here's why it made me think. And I don't want to get into a Gamepass thing or a subscription-based thing because you know what I think on that. But I just do want to point out to you that Super Gion's question raises a very valid point when it comes to, do these people that talk about supporting game developers or Game Pass is hurting the business, do they have a pot to piss in? If they bought used games a lot back in the day, whether it was in the 90s or the 2000s, the early 2000s, fuck off. That hurt the business. This is actually going on still, but things have turned digital. This week, GameStop launches 4 pre-owned games for $20. Now, as a customer, I highly recommend it. Go get them. You're basically paying $5 for used games. You can get Control, Iron Man VR, Blood and Truth, Red Dead Redemption, Last of Us, Jedi Fallen Order. You can get a lot of great fucking games. Horizon Zero Dawn is in there. Metal Gear. I mean, you know, they're not brand new, but they're used games. You can get them for $5 each. Yeah, people are saying that the stream died. Hit refresh, see what happened. It's fine now. Yeah, it I don't know what that is, but okay. Just hit refresh. Okay, anyway, the point is, I don't know where I stopped talking. The point of it, though, was that, yeah, it's like, you know, all of the people who were saying Game Pass is bad for the industry, it's bad for developers, they didn't have any problem with this. And this is still, GameStop is still doing it. They're fucking still doing it. So, again, I'm not complaining. I've always said game players should get the best deal they can. But the absolute idea that, yes, we struggled with rentals a lot back in the day. Because I told the story where God of War 3 was sitting in warehouses. Because people were like, well, I played it and I sold it back, and then, you know, that copy that sold once for Sony for $60 or whatever it was ended up probably selling 10 times for GameStop. So, you know, what are you going to do? A master, yeah, there you go. So anyway, that was my answer to the question, Super Gion. Yes, we talked about it all the goddamn time. And we talked about it to the point that I think the entire industry talked about it. And it accelerated a lot of this shit. Microtransactions, but more, that was coming anyway. But it certainly accelerated the industry trying to get to digital as fast as it could. Absolutely. Okay. Okay. I'm going to center for about 20 seconds, and we're going to move into the second phase of the show, where we're going to talk about Diablo, we're going to talk about Resident Evil, we're going to talk about, oh yeah, we're talking about that. Okay, give me a second. I gotta, and I'm going to answer this question when I come back. This is about midjourney, but you got to give me about 10, 15 seconds to meditate and just center. Most people do ads. I don't do ads. Oh, I do ads, but most people will do breaks. I'm not doing a break. Let's just meditate. Okay. You goddamn right. Amon says meditating for 10 minutes a day has really made my mental health better. Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. And anyone who doesn't do it, you're absolutely missing out on a major, I hate to say it like this, but a major life hack. The ability to be aware of your thoughts and not that you are your thoughts is an insanely valuable tool. Listen to this. Logan says, Jaffe, have you seen the impressive results of AI art generators like DALL-E 2 and midjourney as of late? How do you think it'll affect concept artists and designers? Yes. I got into the midjourney beta. I'm in it right now. I'm about to start paying because you only get so many that you can play with, and they start charging you a monthly fee. Totally happy to pay for it, at least the lowest tier, because I want to fuck around with it a lot. But your question is fascinating to me, which is how do you think it'll affect concept artists and designers? It will. What you are seeing is the steps towards the holodeck. What you are seeing is the future of entertainment. The fact that you are capable of putting whatever you want into a line of text, and it brings you back something that looks kind of fucking good. And the more you fuck with it, the better it looks. We won't see it in our lifetimes, maybe, but we might. Some of you might. But it's not that far from that to telling the computer, I want to make a first-person shooter. I want it to be like a boomer shooter. I want it to be enemies that kind of feel like characters from the TV show The West Wing. I want it to have music that's polka music. And I want it to have levels that feel more like the original Doom 1, 2, and 3 and not like modern Call of Duty levels. Boop! You know, obviously, who knows how long it'll take. And you're off to the races. Come on, man. I mean, that's not fantasy yet. I mean, it's fantasy now, it's sci-fi now, but that's what this is. Where is there merit in a computer doing everything without a human touch? Who cares? I don't want merit. I want entertainment. I want distraction. So Blackjack says, where's the merit in the computer doing everything? There's a bullshit nobility that people have been sold. You know, look, end of the day, I don't care who makes my entertainment. Is it good? And is it personalized? Because you can best believe that sooner than later, it's going to be so personalized to the point that it can start to learn what you like in a game. Preston Smith says, I work with machine learning day to day. It's just a lot of human correction. I'm not saying it's magic. And Preston, you correct me if I'm wrong here. I'm not saying it's magic, but the algorithm is built to reach out, I assume, and find whatever the programmers have deemed relatable, breadcrumbs based on the input. And it's just simply calculating it and reaching out to the world, the digital world, at a very big speed. And then it can execute on the data in a way that is visual, right? I mean, that's what it is, correct? And in that, yeah, Eddie says, I have a hard time believing humans make Ubisoft games. They feel made by an AI. That's right. If you've looked at this stuff, yeah, I don't agree with you, Arathizel. No way middleware descriptive languages get there ever. They've been trying to do this with compilers for 50 years. Of course, why would it not get there? The MLAs I work with are 97% or close to correct. We just step in when it's not hitting the mark. Then they never make that mistake again, right? Let me just show you one thing. I know you guys have seen this. We're going to move off this topic, but it is fascinating as it relates to game development. One of my game designer friends tweeted this. Now, this is not what we're talking about, but just even this. he was saying that, and he's right, the amount of time that designers in the past would take when they're writing up initial pitch documents for my game, it kind of looks like this, and you'd have to go to Google Images and spend like 5 hours. Now he's like, oh, I just entered it into midjourney, and I got, I spent about 2 hours, nudging it along in the direction I wanted, and then it's in my document now. Yeah, of course it'll take time. Yes, we know. It's not here today. Come on. But, look, maybe I have the benefit of age, okay? I grew up, playing around with computers in the, this is from Spazbo's channel over on the Discord. I don't think he'll mind me sharing this simply because it's me. But I grew up, in the 70s, right when computers were getting rolling, okay? The idea that you could type David Jaffe slasher horror movie poster into a computer and it would spit out something like this was fantasy, right? So I'm sorry, but I don't know why I have this. I don't have this mole. I don't believe you. I don't believe that these things are not coming. This is insanely impressive. It's insanely impressive. Yeah, and if you haven't played with this, I mean, go look here. I don't think Rob the Mod will mind. Rob, can I show them some of your... hang on. Rob, is it cool if I show them some of your stuff? Yeah. Okay, Rob did... look at Rob's room over in the Discord. So... he did Danny DeVito. I don't fucking know. He did Danny DeVito as a Spider-Man. And then he did Eminem doing something. This is, I mean, look at this shit. He did Danny DeVito bathing in a bowl of soup. Right? I'm just saying. Okay. But I don't agree with you that this is, that it's like, oh, you need the human. If I told you a human did this, and I said it was a reflection of the artist's sense, if you're listening, it's just this very sad, creepy picture of, looks like a woman staring ahead, almost like Munch's The Scream. Is it Munch? Edwin Munch or something? If I said to you, this was done by an asylum patient who has struggled with schizophrenia for the last 20 years, come on. You wouldn't go, no, there's no soul in that image. You goddamn right there's soul in that image. That's creepy as fuck. All right, I'm going to bring in Mafia, and then after this, we're going to jump in and talk about Diablo a little bit, which is our members-sponsored topic of the day. But first, Mafia. Mafia, are you there? Mafia?
Hello?
Is your name Mafia or Mafia?
Mafia.
I'm an idiot. What's up, man? How you doing?
So how are you doing? I'm interested in the topic you was talking about, like the technology in video games.
Yeah.
Do you think that virtual reality is the future? Like, do you think that Xbox is way behind and PS5 had new PSVR?
Are you talking about the next 5, 6, 7 years of the future is VR?
Like no, like above 10 years, like the Player Ready One movie. Did you see it?
Oh yeah, it's a good movie. It's fun. Good book too. No, I absolutely think that the future is us losing ourselves in virtual spaces. Absolutely. I don't think it's going to come because of PlayStation VR 2, and I don't think that Microsoft not having VR at the moment means they're shut out of the game. I think we're a ways before it becomes like Ready Player One for all kinds of reasons, not the least of which is that level of immersion just simply isn't possible at the moment in terms of visually and the feeling and all that shit. But, you know, I think if you look at entertainment in 100 years, that's you'll be dipping your toes into that, if not fully immersed in it. Because I mean, just think back to where entertainment was in 1922, right? I mean, you were still in 1922, you were still doing silent films with Nickelodeons. And now you're able to sort of put on a VR headset and lose yourself in a fucking world and interact with the space and connect with somebody across the world and do it together. So, yeah, I think that's where it's going. But I absolutely don't think that's what PSVR 2 is going to bring about. I think there's a lot that has to happen first. But I love it. I'm super into it. And I am very much, the pair says Microsoft is heavily invested in AR. And he says, which in my opinion is more interesting than VR. I think VR is more interesting at an entertainment level experience. But yes, AR I think will absolutely change the world. I think AR, whether Microsoft gets there first or Apple gets there first with their AR headset, that when it works, when it's consumer grade, when it's easy, that is going to change, just like cell phones and social media, that will change the fucking world.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thank you for the call. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Okay. I do want to let you know, if you look at the screen right now, if you look at your screen right now, I'm just looking for it. The following story, the following conversation, which is all about Diablo, is brought to you not just by the Cult of Calypso members that you see Sam Bridges walking across your screen right now. Look at them all. Look at them all, proud and loud. They are the Cult of Calypso. But it's also brought to you by these fine folks here. So as I'm telling you the story, in your soul, in your prayers, in your feelings, make sure that you give these good people a bit of a tip of the hat, because without them, we would not, well, we'd probably still have the show, but it wouldn't be as good and filled with life and vigor and sexual energy as it is. So I thank all of you. And let me tell you what this story is. This is fascinating to me. So I got to tell you, Diablo Immortal came out this week. On PC, there's a beta on PC, and it plays like a beta because there's some stuttering and weird things. And it's also on the phone. And I played it on both. I don't really tend to like games on phones because the screen's too small and the controls or whatever. But I am addicted like a motherfucker right now to Diablo Immortal. It is just... You know, I say the situation is heartbreaking because the game itself, and I haven't been an Immortal guy for a while. I did play Diablo, not Immortal, Diablo. I did play Diablo 3, and I loved it, but I never finished it or anything. But I had a great time with it, and I played with my kid. And I know Diablo 2 Resurrected, like, there's stuff in this game I don't think they've done in Diablo before. Maybe I'm wrong, and, you know, if you're a hardcore, jump in and tell me, but they do such an amazing job of keeping you hooked in this game. The way, I mean, it really should be, if you're taking game design classes at college, or if you're just interested, take this apart. Because the various loops, both at a meta level and a moment-to-moment level, are so wonderfully integrated with each other that it's hard to pull yourself away. Almost to the point that it's hard to pull yourself away and you can recognize it for what it is, and you're like, my God, I'm being manipulated and I just don't care. It's like that scene in The Matrix, the first one, where that dude, the bad guy, was eating a steak and he says, I know this is fake. I know it's not real. I know I'm in a vat of goo, but this tastes so good, I just don't care. That's like Diablo Immortal. I know what they're doing. I don't care. It's great. And I know, the other thing I would say is it feels like you're in a relationship, and you love it, and you're going 100 miles an hour, but you know you're headed for a wall. because I haven't experienced the monetization problem yet with this game. And in that, I'm loving it, okay? But my understanding is when it hits bad, okay? So you've got, somebody calculated it would cost $110,000 to fully gear up a single character in Diablo Immortal. Now, it would also take you 10 years to do it if you just played the game. So you can do it with time. Pay with your money or pay with your time. Now, as a guy who's never really been obsessed with Diablo enough, I've never cared about fully gearing up a single character. So the question at that point becomes, does anybody ever do that, right? But let's assume that, you know, you may not do that, but instead of 110,000, even if it cost you 10,000, it's absurd. It's absurd, right? So, but I haven't experienced this yet. Listen to this, though. Diablo Immortal allows players to buy Boon of Plenty. It's like a $10 unlock. And every day when you log in, you get some stuff. It's just like, it's a battle pass, but it's not tied to experience. It's just tied to logging in. But if you fail to log in one day, you lose the rewards for that day. So you have to log in every day. I mean, that's, you know what you're getting into. Upgrading gear is only possible through shop items. Loot progression is tied to rifts. The way the loot possession, it's really weird. There's these kind of loot boxes, but you step into the loot box, and in the loot box you have to fight. And depending on how well you fight, affects a little bit of the percentage of what you get. And the more you pay for these kind of masks before you go in, I'm just going to call it a loot box, but it's like a portal. But before you go into the portal, you can pay or unlock, but mostly pay for these masks that up your chances of getting something better. There's a lot of this in there. And it is pay to win because you get double attacks and health stats if you level up. So I think what's going to happen with this game, like there's two things, right? The first thing is, you know, I'm very disappointed, but I guess I'm looking forward maybe to Diablo 4 then when it eventually does drop. And I got that V Rising, that vampire game. Oh shit, I got to change Luca's picture. He hates that picture. I got a new one coming. Sorry about that, Luca. It's really heartbreaking because I know I'm going to walk away. Here's when I'm going to walk away from this game. It's probably going to be where it becomes very clear, no matter what I do, no matter what weapons I'm carrying, I cannot defeat the enemies that I'm put up against because I've reached the pay to win level. And then I'll walk away. And I'll be really sad for a day because it plays so good. I can't imagine the developers. I mean, I don't know. It was overseen by Blizzard, but it was developed by NetEase in China. The other thing, though, that fascinates me about this is, you know, I reached out to a guy, I haven't heard back from him, who writes about MMOs and free-to-play games all over the world. And for a long time, there has been a theory that Asian countries, where a lot of the free-to-play games do incredibly well, although it's everywhere now, but certainly that's where it started, they tend to be okay with pay for power because of cultural differences. Turns out this guy doesn't agree with that, and that's fine. I want to know what he really thinks it is. But this kind of monetization is not unheard of in a more Asian-based MMO or Asian-based free-to-play game. I'm wondering, is Blizzard going, we hope we make some money in America, but this is really our play into, I mean, China's already into Blizzard, but this is really about China and South Korea? And if Americans spend us some money, great. Or are they trying to bring Americans into this mentality? Because, you know, when I was pitching Drawn to Death, I went around, I won't tell you the names of the companies, but there were companies that spent lots of money and time doing research on why people spend money in games as services. And there is in America about 25 to 40%, they said, depending on what kind of game you're talking about, where paying for power is acceptable. But for that remaining 50, 60%, they said they found it horrible, right? So maybe Blizzard is like, look, if we can crack this in America, I mean, I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what they're thinking because I don't mind paying for a game. I don't mind if they said, hey, you know, pay us $60 and you can unlock automatically all the shit that affects gameplay, and everything else you still have to buy cosmetically. Because I'm not going to spend $5 on this game if this is what it is. I don't understand it. Curry King says this does not reflect all games. It is a choice of Blizzard. It does not mean all publishers are trying to do this, even if, well, yeah, of course, not everyone's trying to do it, but if people spend the money, if this works for Blizzard, trust me, you'll see everybody else falling in line. Of course you will. Because why would they not? If Blizzard is like, shit, man, you know how much, I mean, the money these guys make on microtransactions, if you look at EA, if you look at 2K, if you look at Activision, most of their money now comes from recurring spending is what they call it, which is this microtransaction stuff. Gravity, thank you for the super chat. He says, Diablo being decades old, beloved franchise makes the monetization scheme especially depressing. My hope for the future of games is waning. I would not be worried about the future of games. The future of games is bright. The future of games made by big companies that are expensive, not so bright. But again, I mean, I'm very curious if this is going to work in America, and I'm very curious if this is something that, like, when do I walk away? See, that's the bigger heartbreak for me. You're saying it's depressing, Gravity, because, you know, it's this beloved franchise. I get that. But it's also depressing because it's so good. Like, it's so fucking good that they're about to hit me with a grind that that's gonna push me away. The Chinese market is huge, says Gaming Philosophy, but Diablo 3 launched with a direct store. You could literally buy items per slot, a real money auction house. Yeah, I know, that pissed off a lot of people. Hang on. Let me see what you guys have to say on this. Here in America, it does depend on the game, says Jeff. Look at Crossfire X. No one likes it here, but apparently it's huge over there. Yeah. We, as Bartlett Jones, got approached by them. I think that was Smilegate. And they said, do you guys want to do basically Twisted Metal in the Crossfire universe? And, you know, we chose not because we were like, oh, it's stupid. But it was like, yeah, we're like, what the fuck is Crossfire? And they're like, oh, it's fucking huge everywhere but America. It's like soccer or something. But it's very much pay to win. Legend says it's because they work too hard and make a lot of money compared to their cost of living, so less time, more money than easy choice, pay to play. Well, again, this one guy is saying it's not a cultural thing, but I've heard different from these executives at companies in America and that have companies in teams in China that say there is a cultural aspect of peacocking that plays into it. And there's also the internet cafe issue in South Korea. For example, in South Korea, my understanding is the internet cafe is, you know, it's a cultural norm. People of all ages go there. And it's not just to play games, right? And so apparently an internet cafe can make a deal with a company like NetEase or Blizzard or whatever. So a lot of this stuff is unlocked and they're just playing a more pure version of the game. But I don't know what it is, but it is different and it's weird. Isn't it funny, says Brett Moore, I'm happy to buy a game for $70, but I don't want to put a dime into the free-to-play models. I don't mind free-to-play models, Brett. I love games as a service models when it's a game you love. Like, I love Hearthstone when, in general, but I love it when, ooh, it's Halloween and we're going to get Halloween events, you know? Diablo, if I'm still playing it in October or Christmas time, I'm like, ooh, what's the Christmas event? Or, ooh, I logged in on my birthday and I got a special armor. I know it's minor, but it feels like you're kind of living in the world and it's always something interesting. But pay to power, I won't fucking do. Gaming Philosophy says Lost Ark, the Amazon game, just released with the same, if not worse, business model. Not one peep. Because it's Blizzard, you hear people who were never planning on playing it complain the loudest. Well, again, I haven't played Lost Ark. I can tell you I did play Hearthstone obsessively, and then they fucked up the business model and they started making it very obviously pay for power, and I walked away. And I heard they fixed it, and they did, and I'm back to being obsessed with it. So, I've paid money to Hearthstone. I want to pay money to Diablo Immortal. but I need to find out. I need to wait and find out if I'm paying it because I don't want to pay to get ahead. I want to hit the wall first and go, okay, does this feel fair? And if the answer is, okay, this feels fine, then I'll pay. But what I'm not going to do is pay right now, and then in 2 weeks I drop the game because I'm like, oh, you sons of bitches. No way. No fucking way. It's an interesting point, Enter the Codverse. You'd think Americans would love pay for power. That's how it works over here in the capitalist sense. It's a really good point. It's a really good point. I don't know. Maybe it's the one place where they're kind of, I mean, there is a cultural aspect to it, a philosophical aspect of like, this is sort of what, I don't know, maybe Americans are like, we know that's not really fair. So in the fantasy world, we'll at least try to be nice guys. I don't fucking know. They don't charge you for classes, for class slots. They don't limit you in any way over 24 hours. No, gaming philosophy, my concern is not what they charge for like a class or this or that or the other. It's that what I am very worried about with this game is I don't want to get to a fight that I can't win and there's nothing I can do about it other than pay to get over the hump. Then that's what I care about. I don't care about like, well, okay, I can't get the cool armor. Oh, well. Oh, there's this really cool character class I can't use unless I pay for it. That's fair. I'm paying for content. But if you're basically saying there's no skill solve to your problem, either at a moment-to-moment mechanics level or a meta level, you only just have to pay, that's, at that point, the balance of the whole thing falls apart. I can't deal with it. SJ Niao, thank you for the super chat, buddy. He says, traditional games are too expensive for our income, so we put up with this. Many people's first game is a mobile game, so they don't know better. When you say for our income, and I'm only asking because your dollar amount, not your dollar amount, but your currency is MYR. I don't know where that is. Where are you from that you play games that you're saying your income makes traditional games too expensive? Don't super chat. Just I'll keep an eye out. But yeah, I mean there's a lot of reasons why, and people can say they don't know better, but Malaysia, okay, gotcha. Yeah, for me, I would have a hard time paying for power. But again, according to these companies I was talking to, they're like, no, there's 40 to 60% that are okay with it. Don't waste your money, says BB. If it's something you won't keep up with, money things will fall apart emotionally. I don't. Again, I'm totally happy voting with my wallet and giving them money, but I'm not going to give them my money if it's based on gameplay. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Eternal says the other thing is mobile is popular because of short bursts of play on the go. You don't want a situation where people are having to play long periods just to progress. Well, yeah, but I can tell what's interesting about Diablo is that the on-the-go play and long-term play both work beautifully. I've been able to jump in and play like, okay, I'm going to go do this one little quest, and it takes me about 10 minutes, and I move on with my life. And then last night I played for like 3 hours. After I got stoned, it started to wear off. I just couldn't stop playing the goddamn thing. All right, well, there you go. There's Diablo Immortal. This one's going to be very interesting, fellas, to see how this ends up going. Is it a play for America with these kinds of microtransactions? Is it more for Asian countries and they'll just make whatever they make? Is this the beginning of the end? I don't know. But I can tell you that I certainly am worried because the game is excellent. Even if for nothing else, play the game. Especially on PC. Play it for an hour. Just enjoy the opening part of it. Because it controls great. It's addictive. It's fun. It's satisfying. Highly recommend at least having some experience with it. It's good people. Let's talk Resident Evil. Thoughts on Canada banning handguns, Master Millions? I didn't know they were banning handguns. I think that's one more reason to move to Canada. I don't think America should ban handguns, but we should ban other kinds of guns. Absolutely, I think we should. But, you know, your mileage will vary. Let's talk Resident Evil. But seriously, thank you, God of War members and Cult Calypso members for sponsoring that last conversation topic. I appreciate it very, very much. Is it better than Diablo 3? Yes. Not visually. But what I like about it more is, and maybe I'll stream it tonight, but what I like about it more is like we were talking about, it's very easy in, and you can stay in for a while or in and out real quick. The loops are intricately tied together at a moment to moment and a meta level. And in that, it's just, I didn't get that with Diablo 3. Let's talk about Resident Evil. And I see Resident Evil fascinates me because I love Resident Evil. I love Resident Evil Remake. I'm playing through RE1 HD, which I've never finished, and so I'm playing that. Loved RE7, played the whole thing in VR. Loved Resident Evil 8, short of the last act, which was horrible, but the rest was awesome. But when I hear people talk about the lore of Resident Evil, I'm just like, what are you fucking people talking about? It's nonsensical. It's just like, what? There's Umbrella makes zombies. What else do you need to know, right? Well, apparently all this shit's tied together, and when I was talking about the protagonist hand, who's the protagonist in Village? People are like, oh, remember in 7, the mold grew his hand back. I'm like, what? How are you people tracking this? It just sounds like crazy talk. Well, anyway, the point is, I thought this was interesting. And I don't know if they are trying to I don't know if they're trying to simplify a little bit of the lore so it becomes a bit more mainstream. I don't fucking know. But there's rumor based on the 2 trailers for Resident Evil games at State of Play that they're going to start integrating this, that RE Village and RE4 actually do sync up because RE4 is going to be getting a bit of a rewrite. They're reimagining the remake story. So there were 2 images that were released. I'll show them to you in a second, but let me give you the preamble first. The 2 images are definitely similar, and given that Resident Evil 4 takes place more than 20 years before RE Village, this is complicated to me. Let me read that again. I know what it means, but it took me a while to understand this. Maybe you'll get it instantly. RE4 takes place more than 20 years before RE Village, and therefore before the death of the antagonist of RE Village, Mother Miranda, it's definitely possible Capcom could link the 2 games. So this is what they're talking about. If you're looking at your screen, if not, I'll do my best to describe it to you. This person on the Reddit subreddit of RE says, I noticed this symbol in the RE4 trailer looks similar to the 4 houses symbol in Village, right? So this is from the new RE4 remake, I believe. Oh no, one of these is, I think this one's from 4 and this one's from Village. But the point is that they're starting to suggest that in the story, this woman, Mother Miranda, who made basically the zombies, it says the post points out that Plagueis, the parasites which turn the villagers in RE4 into zombies or bad guys, are similar to the concept to the Kaduo from Village, another parasite that Mother Miranda researches and infects her own set of villagers with while trying to bring her daughter back to life. It's never explained how Sadler, who's the bad guy in 4, learned of the Plagueis in the original Village. So the fan theory emanating from the post is Mother Miranda, while researching parasites in Europe, turned Sadler onto the species and therefore triggered the events of RE4. I don't know, but I think it's very interesting. And yeah, Aman says they will definitely link them to build the universe. Kaiden says connecting all the lore isn't fun. It's just Kojima all over again. I would say... Okay, so Brett Moore says it's a lot. The guy who built the Spencer Mansion from RE1 grew up in the Village from 8. Listen, I would say at this point, Resident Evil is about a breath's hair away from being as convoluted as Final Fantasy or Kingdom Hearts. Like, I know they're doing another series coming out this summer on Netflix. The movie they just put out, which I still haven't seen, was laughable according to most people who saw it. Eddie T says the lore already makes sense and syncs up. This is what I'm saying, though. I'm a relatively bright guy. I've played most of the games. All I can tell you is no one knows, except Capcom right now. I just think it's interesting that they're thinking they might link these together. Now, maybe it's just horseshit. I don't know. You guys tell me. You guys who are into RE4 are much more familiar with it. Do you look at these symbols and think that this is a connection? That this is supposed to be a connection? The one on the left is 4 hands pointing in different directions, which I think represent the 4 houses, the 4 bosses of RE Village. I think that's Village. And then this one represents the 4 feathers or something. I mean, they kind of look alike shape-wise, but do you think this is reaching, or do you think this is a real fucking thing? Eric Lennon says it does not look like a connection to me. Jar says it looks similar, so maybe. It's also represented in RE6. There's definitely symbolism there for sure, says Jorge. So yeah, so we will see if they tie it all together. I don't know. I guess RE4 remake is coming out before RE Village VR, but I will absolutely go back and play RE Village again once it comes out in VR. Okay, so wait, the hands is the... Which one is Resident Evil 4? The hands or the feathers? I'm waiting for the chat because I don't know. This kind of seems like Resident Evil 4, right? The one with the feathers. The 4 left is 4. Okay, the hands are 4, the feathers are Village. Gotcha. Okay. So we'll see. We'll see where this goes. But it's interesting, and I will play. Gravity says, please play RE4 VR on the Quest. I will. That is my plan. Okay. I also want to show you this briefly. You know what you're looking at right here? Hey, these guys have already taken a walk across the screen. Get back there, Sam Bridges. Man. Hang on. Man. I'm going to show you one more thing before we head out for the evening. This is a genre. I'm excited. This is a genre that I didn't really know existed, right? I mean, and I get it now because I was in high school when the NES came out. And a lot of developers, you know, who were kids at the time, they love all the retro games that are reminding them of the Metroid days or the Super Metroid days or whatever. But I like those games, but they weren't my childhood. My childhood was arcades and Atari. And both of those were, single screen gaming. You don't see a lot of that. Well, I don't know how new this is or if I'm just discovering it, but literally yesterday, this game is what turned me on to this as a genre. This dropped, and this is maybe for only kids of the 70s and 80s, but I want to show you this. This dropped yesterday. This is it is a series of single screens. It's inspired by Donkey Kong, Popeye, Kangaroo, Burger Time. There's a handful of influences here. Mappy in some ways. And it's wonderful. But this is the kind of game that I grew up playing. And here's another one. So then I got this one. I went from that. These are like $4. This is called Galacticon. This is on Switch and Steam. Look at this. It's great. This is a combination of like Joust and Defender, and maybe a little bit of Gorf. Fucking awesome, right? I did not know there was a whole group of games out there like this. And then here's another one. I'll just show you a couple more of these. I bought this one as well. This one's called Scoop Fix. This one is cool. This one is like, it's kind of like Burger Time. But instead of walking over the hamburgers, you have to kick these giant ice cream balls to the bottom of the screen to stack up ice cream cones. And if you roll the balls into the blueberries and strawberries that are trying to kill you, I don't know, they get strawberry and blueberry frosting on them, and you get more points, right? I'm in. And then there's one more I bought. This one's called, this one's more like Mappy meets Pac-Man. This is called Anna Lynn, and it's literally Pac-Man meets a platformer, right? What's really cool about these games, though, is Curry King says, Jaffe, do you use MAME? I love playing games like these. Well, I do use MAME from time to time. What's good about these, though, is these are all brand new, right? These are not from 1984, right? So they have more quality of life improvements, things like obviously pausing, but also some checkpoints. You know, they're not as punishing, and they're really fucking good. And they don't cost you a lot of money. And I'll be making a video about these pretty soon. There's actually, when I was working at Sony back in the day, Mike Yum, who did the Con and Warhawk and Jet Moto for Sony, was always wanted to make a game called The Greatest Games Never Made. And he wanted to just release a PlayStation 1 disc of like 10 or 15 arcade games that would have been big, or hopefully, in the 80s. And we never did it, but now you're starting to see this version of retro gaming rising up, and I am absolutely there for it. Jaffe, you prefer these games over some AAA games like Horizon Forbidden West. What I will tell you is they serve a very different purpose, right? So if I want to play Elden Ring, which I love, or Sniper Elite 5, which I'm really enjoying, that's because I want to get kind of immersed in the fantasy of being that character. If I want to play something like this literally for, you know, it might take me 10 to 15 minutes unless I'm really, you know, competing against a score with somebody, that's a different itch that's being scratched. That's just like, oh, I want a fun little diversion. I want to mind sorbet. You know, I saw my friend score. I want to try to beat it. But it's more of an immediate, it's almost like the difference between, you know, I made this analogy back in the day, and people made fun of me, but I thought it was a correct analogy when I was talking about Xbox Live Arcade games are like pop songs compared to operas of big AAA games. Both of those kinds of things have a value to me as a gamer. So, and what's really interesting about these games is the less space you have on screen, the more it's a very different kind of work you have to do. And I'll give you a great example. I played Colin Moriarty's company Lilymo's game this week, Super Perils of Baking. And I liked it. I didn't love it. And what I thought was interesting about it is a game like this one, which is Donut Dodo, which I enjoyed more than Super Perils of Baking, is and again, they're very different games. They both star a chef with a beard, go figure, both released in the same weekend. But this game has to figure out a way to make do with whatever's on the screen is all you've got to engage the player. And in that restriction, I think it's a tighter game design, whereas Perils of Baking is really good, but it's multi-screen. And in that, you end up with the designers being able to go, oh, okay, now let's put some jumps here. Let's put some platforms here. Let's put some enemies here. And instead of having this thing you've got to keep in your head at all times, you're kind of one and done with the screen and you move on. So it really is very interesting. It really is a very interesting design exercise to sort of take stuff like this apart and figure out why it's working, you know? So I recommend this a great amount. This is it's kind of a weird name. It's called Donut Dodo. It's like $3 over on Steam. I highly recommend it. Yeah, Preston says you give designers some serious constraint. It's a testament to good design. Right. Have I played The Evil Within yet? I've played The Evil Within 2 a little bit, and I like it. Okay, well, anyway, there you go. Do I want to tell you about this other stuff yet? Nah, I'll save that. I'll save that. Tone says, Jaffe, kids of today will never experience the joys we had at the birth of games, when you had 1 or 2 games to play a year or had to save your money. Yeah, I know, and you're not wrong about that, but I don't know how old you are, but the older you get, the more you realize very quickly that everyone's nostalgia is just, and I'm not saying you're saying it's not valid, but there's nothing magical about my childhood compared to someone who's 20's childhood. Everybody sees things through a lens that makes everything feel magical when you look back at it. But I agree, though, it was really cool that we got to be there at the beginning of this art form. That's pretty fucking cool. That's pretty fucking cool. Okay. Fellas, that's Gabbin' and Games for Sunday, June 5th. I will be back later in the week, of course. I think the first big event is coming up the 9th, right? Isn't there a big, that Keeley's thing? I will be, of course, doing shows before then, but we'll be doing a State of Play, we'll be doing a Summer Game Fest live watch. This will be, I don't think I'm going to change the membership stuff this week, but a week from all the E3 stuff, we'll probably get into sort of the new membership tiers. We're going to be adding a tier. We're going to be making some changes. Am I going to play Ninja Gaiden Sigma? I am. I am going to play it. And the Call of Duty thing's June 8th, right, TK? I am absolutely going to play it, and I'll probably stream it because Spazbo, who really is probably the best gamer I know and have known in terms of skill, was saying he couldn't really even get past the first level, which I think he was being hyperbolic, but I want to play it just to see how fucking hard it is. But I'm not dying to play it, because I'm excited for it. I have a feeling I don't have the skills for that title. So, but anyway, fellas, I'll see you soon. Be well, be safe. Watch out for the COVID monster and the monkeypox monster. And thank you guys for being here. New members, welcome. Super chats, welcome. All the members, thank you. All the people who aren't members, thank you for being here and being part of our community. I appreciate it. I will see you guys soon. Bye, everyone. Oh, and thank you, Trey Trimble and Octorok, for this amazing new opening. I adore it. All right, bye, you guys.